welcome to the 757 Spy Flight over here on YouTube. My name is Dave. Welcome to the channel. Welcome if you are new. I hope you are having a great week as we all get ready for the semi-annual event on Vatsim called Cross the Pond. If this is your first Cross the Pond, a little bit of anxiety might be building right now, and you know what? That is entirely normal. My flight is currently going to be about 7 hours, and timing is kind of important. Usually when we flight simming, you know, we're just taking off and having a good old time in our favorite airplane. But in this case, we're going to actually have to have a very specific time that we are 100% ready to go. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole lot of hurry up and wait. So if this is your first, maybe some of the hints that I picked up along the way might make it a little bit more fun for you. And here they are. First things you need to do: check your airplane, check your airports, make sure it's updated. If you haven't been to one of your cross the pond airports in a while, please be sure and check and make sure it's updated. And the same thing with your airplane. Another important thing to do is to go to the dashboard over on Vatsim. And you know where the dashboard is. It's where you went and reserved your slot. Make sure that before the middle of the week you've confirmed your slot. Otherwise, somebody else might get it. I also like to say get some snacks ready to go for your flight and also back time your departure. Oh, and speaking of making sure things are updated, make sure that your Navigraph and your SimBrief stuff is all updated and ready to go. So we've gone and done that. One of the things that I like to suggest is go ahead and take your flight and put it into SimBrief. Have a look and see if you were going to do the flight today, what your flight might look like. Gives you an idea of, okay, this is going to be our general path across the pond. There is my Atlantic track. How long is it going to take? It's about 3,322 nautical miles. Okay, that's going to be, I'm going to go to about flight level 310. How much fuel am I going to be putting aboard? All of that sort of stuff. This is just a sort of a preview of things to come. That way, the morning of the flight, you kind of already have an idea of what it is to expect, including these two numbers right in the middle, block time and air time. So block time is 7 hours and 18 minutes. Air time is 6 hours and 28 minutes. So you actually ought to start your flight planning about an hour ahead of schedule. This is something that I call back timing. I used to be in broadcasting. We used to have to back time things all the time, you know, to hit the news at the top of the hour or some sort of thing like that. So for me, back timing is actually kind of second nature. But a lot of people find back timing a little bit hard to do. So I've got a little back timing thing to look at. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. There's a lot of numbers, but if you give this a try, you're not going to end up sitting waiting at your gate for a whole long time like some people have to do. And here it is. And this is called back time your departure. This is an hour before your takeoff slot. CTOT, sometimes called calculated takeoff time. And again, we're starting at the bottom. My takeoff time is 1442 Zulu. And I've, in parentheses, written down 8:42 a.m. spy time. That's where I live. That's what time I have to be ready to go. You might want to, at the moment, if you're watching this on a PC, do a screenshot of this and plug your own times in. So subtract 10 minutes, and that is when you need to be fully ready to go, and you're calling up either departure or ground and saying, you know, whatever your flight number is, we're ready for push and start. 10 minutes before that departure time, okay? So in my case, that's going to be 14:30 to Zulu. 10 minutes before that, that's when you need to close the doors, disconnect ground power beyond the APU, and start connecting your pushback tug, whether it's going to be, going to be GSX, or I actually suggest on an event like this, have Pushback Helper, the free pushback app that you can get from over at flightsim.to, have that standing by. 30 minutes before all of that, you want to go and load your fuel, your passengers, and your cargo. Now then, let's say that you're going to be taking one of the much, much bigger airplanes. That 30 minutes is for something like a 737 or an A320 or maybe an A310, something like that. taking the big old 787 and you're going to load the airplane in real time, you're going to need to add a little bit of time to that. But generally about 30 minutes is what it takes for most of the airplanes to be fully loaded, ready to go, and for you to get the flight management computer all set and ready to go. Okay, one more quick step here, and that is 10 minutes before you load passengers and crew, you need to be signed onto Vatsim at a gate, and that's when you're going to start powering up the airplane. And again, I put my SPY time at the top there. That's my local time. So it's 7:42 a.m. My simulator's ready to go. I'm signing on, and I'm getting my airplane, which means if I follow that schedule, 10 minutes before my departure time, I'm calling in saying I'm ready for push and start, meaning I might have to wait a grand total of 10 minutes, but I'm all ready to go. And if you take a look at some of the instructions that you're going to be getting from Vatsim, they're all saying be ready to go 10 minutes before your calculated takeoff time, your slot time. So that little back timing chart might help. And again, you can roll the video back, make it full screen, do a screenshot, and create your own back timing chart, and I suggest just use like Notepad or something like that. In fact, Notepad really can be your friend. And I've got something I wanted to show you over here. And this is a very, very small Notepad file that I've created. Kind of hard to see, but it's got all of my basic information in there from my initial slot reservation. It's got my takeoff time, 14:42 Zulu, and I've converted to local time. It's got my departure airport, my arrival airport, my flight number right now, and I even have a link right in the middle there. I know it's hard to see, it's small, but the link in the middle is to get me to the Vatsim dashboard. All of that stuff is ready to go, and that way it's saved to my desktop. I can go click on it, and it's right there, and it's very convenient. Another little safety tip, as we get to be about 72, 48, 24 hours, somewhere in that 3-day time frame, start going back to your dashboard and start looking for the PDF files. So one of the things is all of the airports that are participating, they are producing a small PDF file. They're usually like 3 to 5 pages at the most. And that is basically, hey, welcome to our airport. Here are the procedures that you need to follow to be able to get out of our airport. Because in some cases, we're using airports we don't usually go to. So look for a departure airport PDF and an arrival airport PDF, and then another important one, and that's going to be the Atlantic crossing PDF. And this is going to give you the instructions for getting your Atlantic clearance and all of those other things. And those things can be a little bit scary. And again, they're not very long. Just take a second, look them over, and that way you'll be all ready to go. If you do that the day before, I guarantee you, you'll be in a lot better shape. Okay, so how about some fun stuff that you can prepare? One of the things that I like to suggest is have a couple of snacks ready to go, your favorite snacks. And beforehand, you know those styrofoam beer cooler things that you can get at the store? This one, as you can see, is like a quarter size of the big beer cooler kind of a thing. This is small, but it's small enough to sit by my gamer chair right here. And I can put, you know, some cold snacks in there and an ice pack, and guess what? It's going to be just right there, and I've got a snack and something that I'm looking forward to. I also like to say, hey, each across the pond, try a new snack or something like that. This is a mint bar. I've never tried this before, so I got a mint bar all ready to go for across the pond. Let's talk coffee here. So a lot of sim pilots, wow, do we like our coffee? Well, one of the things that I like to suggest is getting one of the little thermoses that you can pour. Not a big one, okay? Not a big thermos. True story for you. One day I was a passenger in a real-world airplane flight. I went to the coffee counter. Instead of the grande, I got the venti. And guess what happened when we took off? There was turbulence that day, and guess what didn't get turned off for a long time? The seatbelt sign. Here's the deal. There's some people that will sometimes request 10 minutes away in the middle of the most critical flight phases of Cross the Pond because, hey, they might have gotten the venti instead of the grande. The thing is you kind of have to pre-plan your trips to the bathroom too. But if you'll do that and maybe get a small to medium-sized thermos that will keep your coffee nice and hot, hey, guess what? You're going to have plenty of hot coffee for your flight, and it'll be just a little bit more fun. And there you go. Those are sort of the hints that I have for Cross the Pond. This is an event that happens twice a year, and if you fly with me over on the Spy Flight on Twitch, you know I generally am not all that excited about long-haul flights because I'd much rather take off and land than take off, lock the autopilot in for 6 hours, and then land. The thing about Cross the Pond is this is a time when there's ATC all the way across the Atlantic, and also there's going to be about 2,500 of our bestest flight simming friends doing the same thing, so it makes it a little bit more of a fun event. So this is across the pond. This is a long haul that I generally really like looking forward to. One last hint. If you haven't had a chance, if you're going to take an airplane that you're not 100% familiar with, please take the time right now to get to know your airplane. Make sure you know how to do a hold. Make sure you know how to enter in a new waypoint that might not be in your flight plan. Make sure you know how to divert and change runways. You need to know how to fly your airplane because I guarantee you with 2,500 of our bestest friends flying along, there are going to be some holds, some diversions, some delays, and you need to know your airplane before you're ready to go. Do that, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing time. Cross the Pond really is one of those fun events. I do always like to say on the YouTube videos that what I'm talking about is not about the right way versus the wrong way. These are the things that I found out work for me. I've been flight simming for a lot more years than I'm ever going to admit to here on YouTube, but I've also been live streaming for just over 7 years right now, and maybe some of what it is that I've learned along the way might help you kind of figure out what it is that you want to do too. So, are you all ready for the big flight? I am looking forward to seeing you too, and I hope you enjoy Cross the Pond. If you get a chance, come on over and visit us on the Spy Flight. We've got a really good group of people over there, some real-world airline pilots that can answer questions if you're thinking about a career, or just fun people. And, you know, we talk about all sorts of things too, like coffee and airplanes and, you know, some things that maybe you shouldn't admit to. Anyway, it's a good time, and I hope you'll come join us. In the meantime, as I always like to say, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you in the friendly sim skies. Cheers.